really appreciate everybody for joining us today. This should be fairly brief. We just wanted to get out some quick information to you to hopefully field some of the calls or the questions that you've been having and about the summer food waiver extensions. So today's training was originally supposed to be for direct certification. However, because of the waiver extensions, we felt that this was more important information to get out right away. If you are still looking to access direct certification training, you can access that training by using the link in the original email that you received for this meeting. And if you have any questions about direct certification, you can reach out to us at dpicnfd@nd.gov. So again, today's webinar is going to be strictly on the updates to the extension of the summer food service program waivers that were released yesterday. My name is Melissa Anderson, and I am the summer food program manager for the Child Nutrition and Food Distribution Program for NDDPI. So right now we are still waiting for some further guidance from USDA regarding most of these extensions. However, we do have some information to share with you today. It's solely based on the information that we've received so far. And so we will notify you of any changes as we receive them. So we're going to touch on the 4 major waiver extensions that came out yesterday. These extensions, the waiver extensions will expire December 31st of 2020. They're going to allow non-area eligible school districts to participate in the summer food program during the fall of school year 2021. It's going to allow parents or guardians to pick up meals to take home to children. It'll allow schools to request a waiver to leave out a meal component of the summer food service meal pattern in order to serve a reimbursable meal. And it allows schools to serve non-congregate meals under the summer food program. Again, all of these waivers were extended to December 31st of 2020. However, we know that they are dependent upon funding and other things. And so if there's any changes or a retraction to these waivers, we will let you know. So what exactly does this mean for you? All schools may operate and serve meals under the summer food program, just as we did back in March. Effective immediately, all meals served may follow the summer food service meal pattern. All meals served this fall will be claimed through summer food. All meals will be served free of charge to all children receiving a meal starting on your first day of school. You can serve those meals in 2 different ways. You can be a restricted open program, which will allow you to serve only those enrolled in your school. You can be an open program, which will allow you to serve enrolled students and non-enrolled children ages 1 to 19 or disabled children up to 22 years of age. Schools may continue to serve meals in a congregate setting, a non-congregate setting, or serve multiple meals for multiple days at one time. Schools may allow parents or guardians to pick up non-congregate meals for their children who are distance learning. So under the summer food service program, what foods can I serve? These are the 3 different meal types that can be served under the summer food program. So breakfast, lunch, and snack. Under breakfast, you have to serve all 3 components. Someone is saying that they can no longer see the screen. Can I get a thumbs up if we can see the PowerPoint? And are we on the slide that says what foods can I serve?
We are on summer food program waiver extension. NDDPI receives waiver extension that expires December 31st, 20 on the top.
No, we're way past that. Someone else took control. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, are we seeing what foods can I serve?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So again, breakfast, lunch, and snack. Breakfast must contain all three components: 1 cup of milk, a 1/2 cup fruit, vegetable, or 100% fruit juice, 1 serving of grain. Okay, it looks like people are maybe seeing the presentation now. I'm seeing I had to click on the slide, or slides are jumping around. Are we still good?
I think you're
It's
good
working
since
now,
you started.
Melissa.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and then lunch, all 4 components must contain the 5 items: 1 cup of milk, 2 fruit and vegetable combo to equal 3/4 of a cup, 1 serving grain, and then 2-ounce meat alternate. And then snack, you must choose 2 of the components listed to be a reimbursable meal: 1 cup milk, 1 fruit or vegetable equal to 3/4 cup, 1 serving of grain, and 1 meat alternate. Please keep in mind that your options are breakfast, lunch, or snack, but you can only serve 2 meal types per day under the summer foods program. So your options will be breakfast and lunch, breakfast and snack, or lunch and snack. And all USDA foods that you have or will be getting for this school year may be used when preparing these meals under the summer program. Okay, so participating and signing up. So a lot of the schools that participated back in March when schools closed and the summer food program took over for meals, we've already got you in our ND food system. So what we'll do is we will update your end date for your program to be September 30th in ND Foods. The startup date will be your first day of school. And again, our CNFD staff are working really hard to get all of that information updated for those schools that already participated in the summer program back in March and April. Any new schools, and there are just a few, will need to complete and send in program agreements and free meal policy statements. Startup instructions and the above documents will be emailed to those new schools, and we will create all of the program information in ND Foods for you. Unfortunately, the current summer food program year ends September 30th, and the new one starts October 1. So we will, again, update your end date for this program year to be September 30th, and then we will have to do renewals in ND Foods for the summer food program in order to serve meals after October 1. So once we release that out, we will send out more information and instructions on how to complete that renewal. So what are we going to do about the NSLP meals that you already serve to children? So schools should wait to credit those families who have already paid for meals in August and September in case we receive different guidance. We want to tell you that yes, right now for sure, August meals are definitely covered under summer. However, we have some questions into USDA and we want to make sure our guidance is correct. So let's hold tight with crediting any of those meals for August and September that have already been paid, okay? Again, as of now, we anticipate that August meals will be claimed through the summer food program. Please continue to accept free and reduced price applications and direct certifications through December of 2020, as this information is used for Title I funding allocations and will be needed once schools are required to return to providing meals under NSLP. Now, the waiver extensions, like I mentioned before, are dependent upon federal funding availability and could be retracted prior to December 31 of 2020. So please make sure all your other things are in place to go back to serving meals under NSLP. Okay, submitting claims for reimbursement under summer food. So again, we anticipate that all the meals for NSLP will be that are served in August and September prior to the extension of the waivers will be claimed in ND Foods under a September summer food service claim. Each sponsor has one COVID-19 SFSP meal site entered into ND Foods because we did this program back in March and April of this year. Meal counts for all sites will be combined and claimed under the summer food program on the September claim, which will be available after October 1. More site meal data will need to be collected for all meals served after October 1. So we're working on a plan on how to collect that information. Of course, more details to come. The most important thing to know is that for the summer food service program, you need to do meal counts and you need to do production records. So do you need to track the number of students taking a meal? Yes, absolutely. A head count tally is all that is needed for summer food service meals. Be sure to count all meals that are distributed and served. Breakfast, lunch, and snack meals must be counted and documented separately. Reimbursement is only paid for meals distributed to children and not for adults. And do not use your electronic system at this time. Do I need to maintain a production record tracking the food that I serve? Absolutely. You will need to maintain a production record listing of the foods that you serve and their serving sizes, just like in NSLP and the school breakfast program. Both of those templates are located on our website. And I know you don't have time to jot down these links. However, I will be sending out an email, or I can attach a link in the chat to both of these templates for you to use when you start operating your summer program. So tomorrow, this is kind of the quick version. Tomorrow, we'll be having a webinar at 2 o'clock that's going to go into quite a bit more detail about the summer program. New sponsors who didn't participate in the summer food program back in March and April must attend this webinar or watch the recording prior to the start of their program operations, as it does represent the annual training requirements for the summer program. Any returning sponsors may choose to participate, as some of the guidance has changed since last spring. Plus, it's a definite good refresher of program operations. You will receive an email shortly after this webinar is over on how to participate in tomorrow's webinar. So right now, that's all I have to share. I think we'll open it up for questions.
So far we have a couple. They want to know if they can get the slides or be able to print this out. I think Scott mentioned he's going to send out the recording. And
That is correct.
Another question was, so does the carryover have any significance this year?
So I guess define carryover.
Melissa, I can
Maybe we
answer
can-
that question. This is Linda.
Oh,
Linda Schleyer.
okay.
That would be the 30-day carryover of eligibility into the new school year for the National School Lunch Program. As of now, no, it wouldn't, because once the meals start being served through the summer food service program, we would not be looking at the eligibility of students during those months. We do want you to collect new information for the new school year, continue to do that because there will possibly, more than likely, be a switchover, but the carryover will not apply this year for these months, current months.
Okay, another one. I'm trying to keep up with these here. Confirming that August meal claims will be included with the September meal claims under SFSP.
So right now we are going with the guidance that we received from USDA, as that the extensions include meals for August and September under summer food. And so no one will be able to complete an August NSLP or a September NSLP claim, because we are again assuming that those meals will be claimed under summer, and we're going to go with that for right now, yes.
Do we start immediately?
Yes.
Okay. So schools are allowed to pick up if they want to serve their enrolled students.
Yes, so as I explained, let me go back and see if I can get back to that slide. You can offer either like a restricted program where you're just serving your enrolled kids in your school, or you can be an open program and serve all children ages 1 to 19 and then up to 22 for disabled kids.
What is the reimbursement rate?
Okay, so the reimbursement rates, I will pull that up here. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I'll post that in the chat for you, Melissa. You can go on.
Thank you.
What is the recommendation to do not use electronic system to track students consuming meals?
And maybe Linda can touch on this a little bit better than me.
I guess the reasoning behind this was last spring to just reduce the amount of work, because by using the electronic system, you have barcodes or numbers that have to be punched in. And when you're with the summer food, you just need a tally of meals rather than by individual student. If the district feels that it would be easier for them just to use their POS system, their electronic system, they can certainly do so. But it's not necessary if you're doing a tally. Another thing with the POS systems is that social distancing and high-touch surfaces. One of the reasons behind USDA extending the area eligibility and summer food waivers is because the means of doing the meal counts really reduces that contact of high-touch surfaces.
Okay. Why do you not use your, okay, I think we did that. That would give us a head count. That's a question. It would also be needing if funding is pulled. So the whole thing was, why would you not use your electronic tracking? So you kind of already answered that. And that would give us a head count. It would also be needed if funding is pulled. Does that make sense?
Yes, that is correct.
Erica?
It would give you a head count. Again, you can use it if you want to. There are reasons why you wouldn't want to because of just the additional work involved, but I can see the benefits of it as well. And yes, once funding is pulled, then it would be required to go back to county meals in that manner.
Okay, do we call this the emergency food school program for reporting, or do we claim under school foods school program?
This program is the summer food service program.
Okay, 1 second. Well, will we be able to offer seconds?
For those, that's a good question. So back in March, we didn't allow seconds because all of the meals were non-congregate. However, because you can do a combination of congregate and non-congregate meals, for your non-congregate meals, you would not be able to do seconds because that really doesn't make any sense. But if you're doing congregate feeding, I would say yes, you can count your seconds, but please keep in mind that a second meal has to contain all of the components.
Do we provide meals with SFSP for ages 1 through 18 or school age only?
Terry, do you want to mute when you're done?
It's 1 through 19.
If they're
only one-
doing an open program, if they're just serving their enrolled children, then it would be just those students that are enrolled at that district.
Right.
If only one school was eligible for SFP, does this allow all schools under that district eligible?
Yes, so the area eligibility waiver covers all sites under all districts.
So I put everyone as free and power school.
Linda?
No, do not put everyone as free and power school because DPI is still going to be collecting that information about free and reduced. They use it for the Title I allocations. We use it. It's used for other funding It's used as part of the formula for the foundation or the state payment for education payment. So don't put everybody as free in Power School. That would be just those that are eligible based on applications that you receive.
I'm concerned that if all students get free lunch, that families will need to turn in free and reduced forms, will no longer do that. And that will in turn affect our Title I money for next year.
Well, I think that's why we're trying to encourage them to continue to do that. Linda, is there any suggestions on how we can, encourage that better?
I think one way a school could really encourage that is to remind them that that information is used for multiple streams of funding, not just for the benefit, for the benefit for the family for free meals, but also a benefit to the family for other educational services. Also, it's not all year right now. It's a temporary program, but it's not, as far as we know, it's not funded for the entire school year. Those are two that I can start with, but I know that there is a big concern about that title funding, and it's really important to get that information out to the families.
How are students and staff second meals handled? Sorry.
Well, you record all the meals served, whether it's students or adults. However, on the meal count tally forms that we use, you document your first meals, and then you document your second meals, and this is for children. And you document your adult meals and your staff meals separate. It's all on the template for the meal count tally sheet.
And you only get reimbursed for 2% of the seconds that are served. So if you serve seconds to every child or every student, you will only get reimbursed for 2% of those seconds that are served.
Does this go until the end of September or the end of?
The waiver extensions go until December 31st of 2020.
Or until funds run out, right?
Yup.
So it could go or it could be done earlier.
That is correct.
If we do the 1 through 19 option, do we have to deliver or can we just do pickup?
You can do either. It's pretty open option on whether or not you want to do delivered meals or have folks pick up. Whether, it's completely up to you. We can be pretty flexible on that.
We have been using the electronic system since August 20. Do we do with the charges on the student's account? What do we do with the charges on the student's account?
If those meals are going to be reimbursed at the summer food rate, then they would be meals that would not have been charged for. So basically the district would just wipe out those charges unless there was something like an a la carte item, because a la carte items are separate. They're not, they're separate from the program, both NSLP and summer food service program. And so that would still be up to the district on what they're going to do with those. Melissa, you've got, somebody's got their hand up. I believe it's.
Okay.
Nancy, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Nope, sorry, my question was already answered. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay,
Jessica.
just to clarify, the meals we are serving as regular lunch for our first 2 days, and then in parentheses, they said we started yesterday, would also qualify for this, for the kids in congregate and those delivered.
Yes, that is correct. As far as the guidance we received so far, we are understanding that all the meals that you've served starting, whether in August or starting yesterday, would be covered under the summer food program.
Okay. Can we still do a snack under NSLP?
Linda, maybe you want to take that one? I guess I'm not sure. Linda, I think you're muted.
I know, I'm trying to unmute.
Who is laughing at? Me? Well, I want to listen, but I want.
Please unmute yourself at the beginning of your talk. I had to mute everybody.
Okay. Okay. I need to look into that because I believe to participate in the snack program, the NSLP snack program, you have to participate also in the NSLP. So if you want to do snacks, your option would be through this child and adult care food program. And that would be, there would be some limitations there. I'd really need to look into that one.
So should we just change our meal charge as 0 in Power School? If we don't put everyone as free, then how can we use our electronic system?
Linda, I'll let you take that one.
Okay. They need to put the students in based on their correct eligibility into Power School, but your meal prices will be 0. That way you'll get the correct information about eligibility and you won't have meal charges in the system.
Okay. Will you clarify about seconds? You said seconds need to be all components.
Yeah. So if you're going to offer a second and document it as a second meal, it has to contain all of the components of that particular meal. So whether it's breakfast, lunch, or snack, that second meal has to contain all of the components in order for you to mark it on the tally sheet and count it as a second.
And then link for template for tally sheet, you're going to send that out, Melissa, right?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like Kendra Doctor has her hand up. Do you want to unmute Kendra and ask your question?
Yeah, just a question on those seconds. If can we still choose to charge them a la carte as before, and not count them on that tally sheet? Can you hear me?
Linda, what do you think?
I believe that a district could choose to sell second meals a la carte versus serving them as a, claiming them as a second meal, but they would certainly not be able to do both.
Okay, so as long as we would pick which way we're going to go, similar to a second not counting or a la carte counting for free and reduced, we could go that way if that's what we said we're doing the whole time. Thank you.
Do we charge for adult meals similar to last spring?
Yes.
I will admit I am not a nutrition expert, but I am a superintendent. Excuse me for that. Has anyone discussed how we can make these meals available when we are short-staffed and losing cooks like leaves on trees? This is going to be a challenge of personnel, not dollars.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know what to say to that, I guess. I would hope that by the USDA extending these waivers and allowing these flexibilities, that it's going to make it easier for our schools. The meal pattern is less strict. The reimbursement is more, of course, but like you said, maybe funding isn't an issue. However, just the less restrictions to the meal patterns will make it easier to provide meals during this time, especially the non-congregate meals. We know that schools, I think, really appreciated that and will hopefully appreciate that. I don't know if that answers your question or.
I guess I would just encourage anybody that is looking for resources or any type of assistance in finding some answers to these difficult questions to reach out to us. I know Jeff with Manda and Becky is in contact with us a lot, and we don't have the resources, but we can find the resources and help come up with a plan. Every district is going to be different. Every district has its own challenges. Just because you're able to serve these meals through the summer food service program doesn't mean that you have to be out delivering meals to every single family every single day. There are options for picking up multiple meals at one time, grab and go, maybe coordinating things. You could also go reach out to your families and find out who's interested in getting the meals through a non-congregate. Some families probably would not be interested. So I guess I just encourage you to ask more questions, and hopefully we can help you find those answers.
And just to confirm that all the meals served are not just non-congregate. They can be congregate meals as well under the summer program right now.
I think we've covered this a couple of times, but if they continue to use the electronic system, they would set their meal prices for breakfast and lunch to $0.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. A la carte is still allowed, correct?
Yes.
The reimbursement rates, are you guys going to send those out? I know Deb put
Scott
them, I
actually-
think they're climbing up in the chat, so maybe we could send
Yep.
those out in an email.
Yep, I can send out an email with the reimbursement rates and then also the template for the production records and the meal count tally form.
Could we use the tally system for student first meals and our electronic system for second staff meals and a la carte?
Linda's shaking her head yes.
Okay. To clarify, the process is exactly the same like last spring, except congregate setting may be used.
Yes.
We started school on August 19th. All of our meals, students and staff are covered. My computer's been in and out and haven't caught any of the news.
Okay, so right now, again, we're going with the guidance that we have, and we are assuming that with the extension of the waivers that yes, any meals served under NSLP in August and September will be covered under and claimed under the summer food service program.
I think we should clarify, though, that the staff meals are not covered. No staff
That is
meals, no
correct.
adult meals may be claimed.
That is correct.
Okay. Can we still do the fresh fruit and vegetable program? I'm assuming they're talking about the grant program?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But can we just use tally sheets instead of the complications of zeroing out in Power School?
Yes, for sure.
I'm reading. So for the full pay and reduce, could we technically go in and credit those accounts at the end of the month as the program continues?
Yes, but that's why we said to wait until we receive further guidance to do any crediting of meals at this point.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of all these questions.
That's okay.
Do we have to open it up to non-school age?
No. Nope, you have the option of doing an open program, or you can do a restricted open, which is just your enrolled kiddos.
School staff is not eligible for free meals.
I didn't hear the whole question, I'm sorry.
School staff is not eligible for free meals, correct?
You can serve your staff free meals, you can serve your staff meals however you want, but no adult meals are reimbursable under any of the programs.
And any adult meals covered by, that are served free of charge to staff other than food service staff must be covered by the general fund. I want to address one question that's further up here, and I think Terry, you missed it. So do we change everyone in Power School to 0 or free lunches? I really want to stress that you do not do that. Do not switch all your kids to free in Power School. That's really going to mess things up for all the other programs where that information is used for title funding, the funding formula for education funding. We still need that information correct in Power School so that it gets into STARS correctly. It's just serving meals free of charge to students.
Should we be tracking school lunch expenses in SFSP accounts versus our SLP accounts during this waiver period? I believe this was required under the spring emergency program.
Yes, and actually when you operate two different federal programs, your expenses and revenues should be tracked separately. So yes, you can track those starting now under SFSP.
Somebody just said, I just don't want to go in and edit 8,000 transactions up to this point. Are we able to switch between congregate and non-congregate serving meals during the week, or do we need to choose one at the beginning instead?
Nope, you have the flexibility to do both or either or.
Can we use the same production book, or do we need to switch to the SFSP production log?
You can use the same production record book that you do for NSLP. I believe I've seen some of those when I was doing desk audits this last summer. As long as it contains, all of the components that you're serving, the number of meals that you're preparing for, the number of meals that you serve, and then especially the serving size of each component. That's the most important. And I believe that the NSLP production record books would allow you to record that as well. So yes.
Do we have to offer virtual learning students the meals?
And I'm not sure exactly where USDA was going, if we actually got an answer on that, if schools are required to provide meals for those that are virtual distance learning.
I might have missed this. We are currently implementing distance learning and we are having meals being picked up. The school board is deciding on September 8th to let students return to the building, but allow those who wish to remain in distance learning to do so. Can we do both on site for food for students and in the building, and pack lunches for those who will pick them up?
Yes, absolutely.
Tara, I wanted to kind of touch on that one question about having to offer virtual learning students meals. The memo came out from USDA last week and it touched on that. And basically it said that if you are offering meals to distance learners, then all of the distance learners must be offered meals. So you can't just choose to offer meals to your distance learning students who are free or reduced. It's if you choose to go with offering meals through that, and it's through the non-congregate setting, then you must offer to all of the students that would want those meals in a non-congregate setting. So that's how that kind of came up with the USDA.
Okay, that's it for now. And I did copy and paste these into a Word document if you guys want to go through them and answer them later and put them out, if that's an option.
Okay.
One more question.
Okay. So is it required, the distance learning students, if you offer meals in a non-congregate setting to any of your students, then you must offer them to all of those that are in a non-congregate setting. So for instance, if you have elementary schools that are non-congregate and then some in high schools that may or may not be, you have to offer the meals to both the elementary and those high school students. You can't just go, well, we'll just offer them to elementary and the high school students can take care of themselves. So it's basically, if you're going to use the non-congregate waiver, which is basically if you're going to be serving or offering those meals through non-congregate means, you have to give all of those students who are non-congregate the option of being able to get a meal. I hope that makes sense. I know it's kind of convoluted, but it's basically if you're going to offer it to some, then you have to offer it to all. That would be non-congregate.
Okay, here's my question then off of that. We're a K-12 school. If we offer it to all our K-12 students that are face to face with us right now, we have 10 or 12 students virtual learning. Do we have to offer it to those 10 or 12 students, or can we just keep it in the building? That's my question.
You can just keep it in the building, but the minute you offer it to like one family, then you have to offer it to all the other families too.
Perfect. That was my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is it offer versus serve or serve?
There are some options for offer versus serve. One of the waivers we got did touch on offer versus serve. It's literally impossible to do offer versus serve with non-congregate meals. It's really, really difficult. But with congregate meals, offer versus serve is allowed. It's very similar to the NSLP, and we will make sure that information gets sent out.
Actually, that information will be included in the training tomorrow.
Sure.
Will any portion of our application from spring need to be changed for September? Example, only delivered in spring, now doing congregate.
Are you talking about your application in ND Foods, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah, the application for the summer food program, did we have to pick how that was being delivered or locations? Does that change?
Yeah, and really right now we're just doing an extension of what you did before, and we're for August and September, no, we're not really gonna grab that because a lot of them are doing both. And so I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do the renewals yet and what information we'll collect. But we may have to collect that information down the road, but as far as right now, no. And you don't have to make a decision on whether or not you're doing one or the other or both.
There's a question and then we have a hand raised. So the question, will any portion of, school serving meals to Head Start, do we need to open it up to all children in that age group, or can we just do the Head Start students?
You can just do the Head Start students because that would, that's the way the school operated before the switch here. And I believe there's some type of an agreement to provide those meals. So that wouldn't be a non-congregate meal. That would be more like just an agreement between the school and the Head Start to provide those meals.
Go ahead, Nancy, you can unmute.
Okay, I was just wondering, do we verify this year then, the applications? Yes, okay.
Yes, you would still need to do, because you're still collecting applications, you'll still need to do the verification of the applications you have on file as of October 1st, just like you normally would in a school year. As far as we know right now, just to let you know, after this call at 3 o'clock, we have another webinar with USDA. So a lot of these questions that we're answering are going to be asked will probably be covered. And I really, really recommend that you come on again tomorrow at 2 o'clock for our webinar, because it's possible some of these answers might need to be modified a bit. I'm hoping not. I think we got a good handle on things, but you just never know.
And then just what date does this start?
So again, we're under the assumption that all of the meals served in August will be under the summer food program, but you can start as soon as tomorrow using the summer food meal plan, meal pattern, starting, using the tally forms if you want to track your meals that way. So basically tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and I guess I have to say too, please join us tomorrow. For some of you that it may be redundant information as you already, took the training in the spring. However, we have a lot of changes with, being able to serve congregate and non-congregate meals. And we may find out some more information today, like Linda said, from USDA. So again, I encourage you to participate tomorrow at 2:00 in that webinar as well.
Melissa, there's one more. Should we retroactively complete the tally sheets since we have been in session since October 20?
That's a super good question. I'm gonna say that's a lot going back, but technically we have to have those on record. Let me think about how I want to track that for previous meals served, and we'll let you guys know tomorrow. How does that sound?
If they could print out their counts out of Power School or from their POS system,
Yes.
that would serve as a tally, wouldn't it?
Yes,
They would be
absolutely.
able to just print out their daily counts for breakfast and
Yep.
lunch. They would have it free, reduced, or paid, but the total would be the tally.
Yep, that would be just fine.
If they use electronic system, do they need to use the tally?
Well, I think we already said that if you're comfortable using your electronic system to track the meals, and you can provide some kind of a monthly report that totals the meals, which it sounds like you can. I'm not super familiar with your guys' systems. I think you can use that. We use the tally sheets in the summer food program because a lot of the summer sites don't have an electronic system to use, or they're serving outside at a park or at a bus stop. And so that's why we relied on the meal count tally sheets in those instances. However, when we did desk audits this last summer, we found that a lot of folks kept track on an Excel spreadsheet, that tracked every day, every meal, and did a total, and that would be fine too. I encourage you that if you have an alternate way of tracking the meals, contact me. Let's talk about it. Let's take a look. And as long as it covers all of the information that I would look for when we would do a desk audit or a review, then I'm fine with that. I'm going to be super flexible on that. So any alternate ways of meal counting, please contact me, and then we can work it out. So
we need to backtrack and have all of our production records from August 20 to present.
Well, don't you already have production records for your NSLP program back to that date? So that would be enough record right there.
Okay, that was.
Oh, Kendra had asked about a promotional material flyer. I know Deb Eglund in her office is working on a template for a letter to send out to families about the program to kind of explain, and that then the district could update the information on it and send it out. So we're kind of in the beginning stages of getting something together for that.
Lots of good questions.
Just wait till tomorrow.
Yay. No, good questions, you guys. And like Linda said too, just reach out to us. I'm the summer food program manager, so I can definitely answer questions. You can email our main DPI cnfd@nd.gov email address if you have an emailed question. That's super helpful, and then those can get fielded to the right staff as well. So
Good.
okay,
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
See you tomorrow.